Hello, and welcome to Solving for the Undefined podcast. I'm your host, Johanna, founder of Miss Kuiper's Classroom, the place that equips teachers and parents in helping students struggling with on-grade level math. But it's not always about the numbers, and that's why I'm here, bringing you the formulas to solve your problems, math and otherwise, and helping students gain confidence in academic abilities. And that's what you can count on. Hello. Welcome to a brand new episode. I really hope you enjoyed the first 3 podcast episodes for my launch. And now you can expect a new podcast episode every Monday. Last week for my students was a start of a brand new semester. We kind of did a slow start, being on Tuesday and Wednesday of last week, we did some breakout sessions with local businesses, colleges, and we had a keynote speaker, Brandon Leak from America's Got Talent 2020. And then Thursday, we started our brand new schedule. And in this schedule, we meet with every student 4 days a week. Whereas before, we met with every student twice a week, and then they had applied learning or asynchronous work the other 2 days. So I'm excited about this new schedule because I'm going to see students more often. I feel like we're going to get more stuff done, and more students within each class allows me to do more activities. So today I wanted to share with you a couple of tools I use to increase student buy-in. And what I mean by this is getting students to talk using academic language, gain independence in the classroom, as well as to celebrate their participation. So the first thing I like to do once class time begins, we do what I call a mic check. And I actually got this idea from one of the teachers within our district, so I can't take full credit for it. But I love it, and I think it really helps get students talking and buying into class that day. So what I do for the mic check is it has a little script of what the student needs to do. If a student is called on, they unmute, they say, state your name, hello Mrs. Demuth, hello class, and then there's a prompt for them to answer. So let's say it's, tell us your favorite beverage. They would go, if the student's name was Johanna, which is my name, this is Johanna. Hello, Mrs. Demuth. Hello, class. My favorite beverage is coffee. And then they'd mute their mic. I'd say, thank you so much for being a brave risk taker. And I'd move on to a second student. And I always preface beforehand, before I start picking students, how many people I'm going to choose. Typically, I do 4. I don't know why it started out with that number, but 4 seems like a good number. So when it comes to mic check time, I'll tell them I'm going to choose 4 students to unmute and share with the class. I always model it, even though we are a full semester into the year, I always model it so they understand, especially if they haven't been chosen yet. They know what it is, know what's expected of them, and it helps students fully understand the activity beforehand. The way I choose students is through a random number generator. In the participants tab on Zoom, I have them all listed. It's usually in alphabetical order by their first name. And I'll just pull out my phone. I'll do a random number generator for however many students we have. And then if it pulls up student number 4, I'll count down 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll be like, so-and-so. And then so-and-so will unmute their mic. They'll say, this is so-and-so. Hello, Mrs. Demuth. Hello, class. My favorite beverage is... insert beverage here. And every day I choose a new prompt based on maybe something that's happening in the world, or if it's a holiday time, or whatever prompt I think of that day. And my students really seem to enjoy it. And even students who don't typically engage with each activity will buy into this mic check, because who doesn't love talking about themselves? The second thing that I love doing within my classroom to increase student buy-in is celebrations. If you've seen me on Instagram, you might remember I did an Instagram Reels of making these sparklers, as I like to call them, or fireworks. And what they are is a combination of the little New Year's Eve like noise makers, the ones that have like the frills on the end. So, like when you blow into it, it fans out the little sparkle sheet shreds things. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. I will link the video in the show notes as well as the episode page on my website. But it's a combination of the noisemakers as well as some wooden dowels that I found at Dollar Tree. So this whole project cost me $2, and it has been a huge hit for my students, even though I look like a dork doing it. I am a total advocate for looking like a fool if it helps my students increase their buy-in and engagement with a class. I took these sparklers, and when you buy them from the Dollar Tree, they're literally, the sparkle end is just taped onto the noisemaker. So all you have to do is untape it and then tape it to the dowel, and it kind of wraps around a few times. And I did multiple colors to kind of increase the colorfulness of my sparklers, fireworks, and I made 2 different ones. And they're just little fun things to use when I ask a question to my class, like, answer this question in chat. And as students answer in chat, I'm like, thank you, so-and-so, sparkler, sparkler, sparkler. Or thank you for your answer, sparkler, sparkler, sparkler. And just like wave them around, makes a little rustling noise. It just celebrates the student for participating in class. I don't care if their answer is wrong or right. It's the fact that they are trying and participating in the class that matters to me. Plus, if students are getting wrong answers in class, it allows me to better understand, like, they're still struggling with the understanding of this concept, but if they didn't participate, I wouldn't know that. Especially being in an online platform like Zoom, I don't get to see every student's work, every student's facial expressions as they complete work. Increasing student buy-in and engagement is huge in helping me understand how to better help students. Another kind of celebration that we use is called an AVID celebration. AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination, and it's a class designed to help students in middle school and high school develop skills that they need in college and to apply to colleges and careers after high school. In AVID, they do these things called AVID celebrations. Some are made up by teachers and students, and some are standard across the board. And I have not taught AVID, I've just seen it in action within my school. So I don't know if the ones I'm going to share with you are AVID standard or if teachers made them up. One of my favorite ones is coincidentally called a sparkler. So what it is, and I will post a video of it or a link of it on my website for this episode. But what it is you hold up your index finger in front of you, and then you take your other hand and you're going to do a snapping sound. You're going to take your snapping finger of your other hand and just kind of move in a circle around your index finger above it, creating like the sparks of a sparkler. And the way you would use this is if a student comes up to the board and does a problem on the board and you want to celebrate that student and their work, you'd be like, all right, we're going to give a so-and-so a sparkler on 2. 1, 2. And every student knows to put up their index finger and do their little sparkles. Another one, if you want to start basic and not super fancy, we call it at our school a parish clap, just because parish is 2 syllables, therefore 2 claps. We'll go like parish clap on 2. 1, 2. And clap twice. And whatever your school is, I don't know if you have a 3-syllable school name, you can go 3-syllable school name on 2. 1, 2. Something like that. It's just a way to engage students in honoring and celebrating students who are willing to participate and engage and do their best in front of the full class. The third way I like to get students to buy in my classroom is through sticks of fate. And there's many different names, popsicle sticks. You can do in the digital world like a little wheel of fortune kind of thing where it does a little spinny thing and you have names on every spoke, and then wherever it stops is the student you call on or is the winner of something. I see them used a lot for like giveaways on Instagram. That is a way to call on a specific student without it feeling like it's targeting a certain student, if that makes sense. As well as it puts everyone on the spot in the sense that they all have to be ready for an answer. The way I do sticks of fate is a little different than some people. In my classroom, I use the numbers 1 through 35 because I have 35 desks in my classroom. Each desk is labeled with a number. So we'll have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, all the way to 35. And that's how I number my sticks. I have 35 sticks in a little blue cup on my overhead projector cart up front. And how I use it is we'll do like a practice problem and I want students to work on it on their own or work on it with a partner. Pre-COVID times, I want them to work on a problem. When I want students to answer, I will explain to them that I'm going to be choosing 2 people using sticks of fate. I never, ever, ever use sticks of fate as a punishment for students not raising their hands. Please don't ever do this. It decreases buy-in and student willingness to share with the class, which is the complete opposite of what you are trying to achieve. Another way you can do it if you want to have students volunteer as well as maybe use sticks of fate is to say, I'm going to choose one volunteer and 2 people via sticks of fate. Using them as a tool rather than a punishment is going to change the overall vibes in your classroom. Having students willing to share rather than forced to share really makes a difference. And you might think sticks of fate is forcing students to share, but I will explain how I use it in a way to help students who don't understand or don't want to engage. I got this from the book Teach Like a Champion by Lemov. I don't know if I've pronounced his name right. It's called No Opt-Out, and it's a sequence that begins with a student unable to answer a question, should also end with that student answering the question as often as possible. Every student knows that they will have to answer the question, even if they say, I don't know, to start off with. If you allow students to say, I don't know, and you never have them answer, over time they're going to learn that they don't have to have the answer. They can just say, I don't know anytime they decide they don't want to participate in class. So the way it works is, if a student says, I don't know, to a question, you would turn to another student, ask them that exact same question, have them answer, and then turn back to the original student and say, now you tell me so-and-so, what is the answer to this problem? So that was kind of a little segue of how I use sticks of fate and combat the idea of forcing students to answer rather than helping them along if they don't understand the answer. The fourth thing I do in my class, and I've really only been able to successfully do it online a few times, but it works like magic, like literal magic within a classroom. In my classroom, I set up students in groups of 2 when we were in person. And what I do is I have A-B partners. One partner is partner A, one person is partner B. And whenever I have a question that I want them to discuss, because I'm really trying to have students have academic conversations, is I will have them turn and talk to a partner. So maybe the question is, why does Pythagorean theorem work for this triangle but not this triangle? And I'll have them turn and talk with your AB partner. And there's a little hand signal with it too, because nonverbals are huge within a classroom, but we'll save that for another episode. Turn and talk to your AB partner. One thing that I have found to really work to set up your AB partner time is to use word banks, use sentence frames, explain who's going to talk first. I'll say, you have 1 minute to talk with your AB partner about this problem here. Partner A, you're going to go first. Go ahead and begin. In that structure, while seemingly like, well, duh, I want them to talk about this problem, overall, it helps the interaction go more smoothly, more efficiently, and to stay on topic. Another way I use turn and talk with students, not only for specific academic conversations, but also for if I want students to volunteer and no one knows the answer, I give them a chance to turn and talk to your AB partner. That way, if the A partner knows but the B partner doesn't, they have a chance to collaborate and figure it out. If after that time still no one knows, it's an opportunity for me to be like, okay, I need to re-explain this to help my students better understand the material. Turn and talks are a really powerful way for students to engage in academic conversations, to better learn math, and an opportunity for me to understand how to best help students learn going forward. And the last student buy-in piece is exit directions. And not like exit directions like exiting the classroom, but exiting into an activity. How many times have you heard a student be like, what are we doing again? What were the directions? What page am I supposed to be on? What do I do when I'm done? All of those questions can be answered by using exit directions. I get this idea from Michael Grinder's book, ENOVY. And ENOVY stands for Educational Nonverbal Yardsticks. Whenever I have students work into an activity, whether it's online or in a classroom, I have exit directions. Exit directions tell students what they are working on, how to do it, what materials they need, where to do it, when it's due, as well as what to do when they are done. It encompasses so many different things, and it really helps students gain independence in the working process. The way I use it within my classroom, after I release them to do their work or start on a question or turn and talk to a partner, if they're like, what are we supposed to be doing again? I'll just turn and point to the screen where it says what they are doing. And they'll be like, oh, okay, got it. I don't say anything, I just turn and point. And if they have any follow-up questions that are not on the screen, I will answer it. Or if I have a consistent question in the classroom, I will quickly add that to my exit directions. Whether I put them on the whiteboard, I put it on a sticky note under my document camera, or I have a Google slide presenting my exit directions. I will link a picture in the episode page on my website so you can see what I'm doing with those exit directions. In summary, the 5 things I use in my classroom to increase student buy-in are mic checks, celebrations, sticks of fate, or random number generator if you're doing an online classroom, turn and talk, and exit directions. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. To find all the links and resources to things talked about in this episode, head on over to MissKuipersClassroom.com and click on podcast. And until next time, I'll leave you with this. Good mathematics is not about how many answers you know. It's about how you behave when you don't know.